Campio Furniture 2018 SR&ED project. As you already know, pretty much all furniture out there, 100% of them, the sofas either are stationary, which means they don't move, or all of them moves. You don't see any sofa that, say for example, in this case, there are 3 seats. One of the seats can rotate. It doesn't matter which sequence is that. There is no company out there to make it, so it was a project to create a sofa system that having both a stationary and rotation in the same sofa. That was one. And the other part of the project was that as you're making it, could be in different sequences. Here there could be, for example, number 1 and number 3 could be stationary, or vice versa. Number 1 and number 3 could be rotational, and the first one could be stationary. So they had to develop an approach to make it work. Number one biggest problem that they had was a structural strength. Assembling a recliner mechanism into the wooden frame. It was weak, it was wiggly, didn't have sufficient support, it was cracking. That was one problem. Second problem, when it is assembled together, when it is in a home position, it should look like one piece. The viewer shouldn't see that partially is recliner. It should be nice, even, have a seamless joint. All the footrest at the bottom here should be perfectly aligned. You don't see it from this photo, but it's perfectly aligned. The seats should be aligned as well as the backing. So everything look like as one stationary piece. To do that one, they had to do a series of experiments. One of the experiments they realized that in order to maintain a weight down, or if they are using 2 recliner, as you already know, recliner is pretty heavy, adding significant weight to overall weight of a sofa. So they had to reduce the weight as much as they could. One approach that they did, they realized through the series of testing that they did, they create a pitch. I'm not sure if you can see properly here. It's roughly about 15 degrees pitch that they had. And this allows a maximum strength of the railing, while at the same time help with the overall ergonomics of the sofa. Another big problem that they had was, here we go, I'm going to zoom in so you can get a better look. 3-seat sofa, stationary, rotational. In the stationary one, as you can see, they use a standard approach is using a metal spring, and have many advantages when you're using metal spring: resilience, performance. When the load is removed, go back to the home position, and longevity. This approach could not work at motion, simply because the wooden frame was tearing apart when the load was applied. There was not enough room to increase the thickness of it, make it wider. If they would do that, they would impact the ergonomics of the seat. That was not an option. Also, they could not increase the thickness of the wooden frame. If they would increase the thickness, the seats, completed seats, they would not be aligned. So after doing a series of experiments, they realized the best option that they had using rib system, both vertical and horizontal, entangled together. Joint design. So they realized if they create a C shape, passing it through the beam, they can get the maximum structural strength and minimizing this wiggly movement that it has. Conventional approach of making a sofa, as you already know, there is a siding and the back frame comes over there, and they're pretty much attached to each other. But right here in this case, because the back seat was rotating, they had to have and rotating was hitting against the railing and create excessive friction. The best result that they had, I'm going to zoom in, you can see, pay attention here, the profile I had. This one is one of the earliest prototype. This is a scrap, but you can get the picture. or what you're talking about. Um, they had to create a clearance over here. The clearance was pretty critical. One, allows the back or the shoulder to freely rotate, eliminate the friction, and two, it's these 4 inches arm, as you can see, as well as the railing is one piece rather than conventional way of having a two-piece. Increase it by about 6 inches. The new version of it, the upgraded version, has a nice radius of 45-degree angle, which sufficiently improve the overall structural strength of it. The sofa has to be developed in a modular design simply because of its overall weight, especially when they're using two recliner mechanism in the sofa, it makes it very heavy. So when it is transported and the end user are using it, be able to easily move it and be able to assemble it. So to do that one, or a part of the packaging process, as you can see, the seats, all 3 back shoulders has to be able to sit, be disassembled, and that side can be easily assembled back to position. The sofa that we are saying here is 3 seats. It could be love seats with 2 seats or any combination. Sufficiently reinforcing the joints to prevent it from cracking. Then I do a series of experiments with the design of the leg support to make sure all 3 of them are aligned. The conventional way before they were developing a sofa was, say hypothetically, if it was a recliner was over here or motion was over here, they got a motion, they got a frame system, and they got a motion and plug it in. And they thought it's going to work, whereas it didn't work simply because the alignment wasn't there, the motion was limited, and they got a series of problems. After doing the series of experiments, various design configurations, finally realized the way they could resolve the issue is not by creating a frame first and putting a recliner in there, but rather than starting with the recliner and developing a wooden frame around the recliner system and beefing it up that way. Doing so, they could get a sufficient structural support, proper alignment throughout, and as well as meeting the required ergonomics.